King Alcohol has many forms by which he catches man. He is a beast of many horns, and ever thus has been.
For there's rum,
And gin,
and beer, and wine,
and brandy of logwood hue,
and hawk,
and port,
and flip, combined
to make a man look blue.
He says be merry,
For his good sherry,
and Tom and Jerry,
champagne and perry,
and spirits of every hue. Oh, are not these a fiendish crew, as ever a mortal?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Blind Pig Confessions.
You have a hernia?
I do.
Okay.
Couple.
So we're still we're up in Wisconsin.
We are?
Gentlemen.
Milwaukee.
Oh,
Welcome,
you
dear.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, we're
I
on
love
day
the
two.
city.
Are we on day two?
Day two,
Wow.
but we actually started here.
Yeah, we
yesterday.
did. We did
did,
start. We
yep.
did officially start it
And where we
at
at?
the MobCraft.
The MobCraft. I mean,
Absolutely.
Well, I call it the MobCraft, kind of like the Facebook and the Blind Pig Confessions.
What, like the Ohio State University?
Yeah, the Ohio State. No.
So we've
the
got
Milwaukee Bucks.
Henry on with us.
Hey, guys.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going well.
So tell us who you are.
Yes. Well, because
All right.
Jordan doesn't know.
No, because I like to save that for the show. So
He
thank
sets
you.
up. He sets up the shows, but asks no questions at all. It's like,
No.
who's coming on the show? I
Some
don't know.
dude.
Guy works in a warehouse.
Well, yeah, I'm Henry Schwartz. I'm one of the co-founders of MobCraft, and I guess my title is the president, so I pretty much am the no-fun guy.
Dun,
Yeah.
You're the president. Nice.
So started the brewery in 2013 with my business partner, Andrew. We were originally over in Madison, and our concept came up when we were pretty avid homebrewers. We started going to all of our friends asking what beers they wanted us to brew. And we weren't just taking, you should brew an amber, you should brew a stout. We were, taking really fun ideas. You should brew a strawberry basil lime wheat beer. You should brew a brown ale with espresso and milk sugar. So we were pulling all these really fun beer ideas from our friends, and we decided, hey, we should try and turn this into a business. So we started going out to just beer fans in general and crowdsourcing ideas for beers, getting votes on our website, getting idea submissions, and then every month we crank out a new crowdsourced beer. So we launched that kind of on a homebrew scale coming out of college to see if we could build a minimum viable product and go ask some banks for some money. We got to the point where we were giving away, because we couldn't sell, we were giving away 50 bottles of these crowdsourced beers every month, and people were driving 20, 30 miles to come pick them up. And we're like, cool, this has some legs.
No doubt.
So we put together this beautiful business plan and shiny financial projections and went to this bank and asked them for $1 million to start a brewery. And they definitely said no.
Yeah.
Because, we were 6 months out of college. Andrew and his brother owned a car together, up to our eyeballs in student loan debt, no other experience. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and, tried to figure out how could we start a brewery in a non-capital intensive way. So we found a brewery in Madison that had extra capacity. We bought one 7-barrel fermenter, named it Mary the Vessel of Truth,
Nice.
installed her in that brewery, and then we did one monthly crowdsourced beer. For about 2 years, started adding more tanks, outgrew that space, and then moved into the spot we're in Milwaukee.
Those guys are like, get out of our freaking space, quick.
Yeah.
You're like, you're selling more beer than we are, and so we need you to go now.
So on the crowdsourcing, you do a new one every month. Do those ever become a staple beer?
Yeah. Actually, some of the ones that we're going to try today are crowdsourced winners that have been brought back by popular demand.
Nice.
So we've looked at all the crowdsourced beers we've done. Every time we go into a new season, it's like, hey, should we bring one of those back? Do people give us shout-outs on Facebook and whatnot to, brew that beer again? And the ones that people really dig, we brew over and over.
That's good. Yeah. Awesome.
Did you ever get the $1 million from a bank?
Yes. Yeah, actually.
I did that on the first home loan I ever put out. I was going to buy a condo in Arizona, and I think I just put out. I was asking for $200,000, but when I submitted it, I added a zero because I was doing it online, and they came back and said, "Yeah, no, you're 25, and no, you're not getting $2 million house."
Oh, why not?
That's great.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Now, how do you choose the crowdsourcing? Obviously, you're getting a million ideas, right?
Yep.
So what's that process, and how do you choose what you're going to do?
So a little bit of it is technology that we've got this algorithm that tracks the beer's popularity across the internet. So the more they're shared, the higher rank they are every month when we get all the new recipes. So we take the top 8 recipes that have been shared across the internet. Obviously, we remove all the vulgar beer names and stuff that's just stupid. But realistically, there's not that many stupid beers that are like, hey, put dirt and decaying animal matter into a beer.
Ashtray beer?
Yeah, you haven't had that.
Yeah.
We did brew a Lafroig barrel-aged Scotch ale that was pretty
Wow.
smoky and peaty and ashtray and hospital floor and all that jazz. But, I mean, I love that. That's one of my favorites.
We
but some
literally
people-
had a beer called Ashtray Beer. That's why he mentioned
Yes.
it.
Was that was
Evil
was-
Twin.
Was it Evil
yeah.
Twin or okay? Was
It was
it
Evil Twin.
I thought it was Rogue.
And
for
it
some
literally
reason.
it was a bit much. We'll say that.
Yeah.
It was a bit much.
It was pretty. It tasted like somebody just randled their beer through an ashtray with filter.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
old cigarettes. Yum.
And then like I like my tobacco while I'm drinking. Just I don't really want it in my drink. I'm not sure how the nicotine.
Somebody
I'm not
like
sure
that.
how you get past the excise with the nicotine
Yeah.
and the liquor all at the same
No
all at the
clue.
same time. So
Well,
where
there we
you
go.
at?
First beer. It's about time.
Oh, he's getting a little ahead of himself. Where are you at with like kind of your count of crowdsourced beers? I mean, how many have you done? And
Oh my gosh.
because you're on 7 years now,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, what's 7 times 12?
Well, no, I didn't know if you ever have any other specials.
Yeah.
I know you know what I mean.
Oh,
So you stick to a pretty strict schedule then.
No, not at all.
Oh, no, once a month,
I think
you
we've
said.
done. We looked at Untapped the other week, and we were just trying to figure out how many beers we'd actually made, like different beers. And
Right.
Untapped says like 475, but I think there were probably a good like 80 or so that were just like wrong beers
Oh,
that
okay.
didn't actually exist. But yeah, I mean
More yours.
over 300 different beers in
Wow,
7 years.
That's pretty. That's pretty
It's
awesome.
hefty.
Yeah, I was actually kind of
Is
fighting
it
with
your
them.
your SPs and the crowdsource or just the crowdsource?
Yep,
Or
ours
your,
and the
okay, I was gonna say,
crowdsource.
all right. I was
So-
gonna say 300. Man, that's that is a lot. And you guys just didn't really want to come up with beer ideas on your own. You're like, this is tiring. I'm not this creative. Can people help us?
Yeah,
Are you sampling with us today, sir?
yeah, of course.
Awesome.
I was gonna say, Jordan, I think you're missing their count.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, but for the crowdsourced beers, there have been like when the government shutdown happened, we didn't do a vote because we couldn't get any recipes approved. So then that happened, and now with COVID,
Yeah.
like, all right, great, we've skipped a couple batches this year just because,
So maybe I missed
Not as
it, and
many
I guess
people buying
I know
beer.
you said you'd take the top like 8 or whatever from who makes the final decision?
of the top 8.
Oh yeah, which one gets brewed?
Oh, the people. So you vote with your dollars. You say, if this beer wins, I'm going to buy a 4-pack, a 6-pack, a case, whatever it may
Oh,
be.
really? That's
And then
cool.
the beer with the most pre-orders is the one that we put through production.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a way to
That's
do it.
awesome,
You
yeah.
you're also
Yeah, you
kind
got
of
it.
guaranteeing pre-sale.
you
You're
got
like,
it
hey,
sold, yeah, that's-
well, hopefully. I mean,
So if they're doing it
Do they-
that way,
do they
then what
pay
happens
up
to the
front?
other? Yeah, what happens to the other 7? Do they get their money back?
So it's never
actual
taking
money.
money.
No,
it's
you're
all
not
like
taking
a
unless you buy
card
it.
pre-authorization.
Right.
So
Oh,
like
okay.
once the vote closes, then cards get charged. There is a little check.
Oh,
that
so
says,
you are
like,
you
give
are
me the winner
you are
no matter what. but-
prepaying for so you're so once it
Right.
wins, you're like, oh yeah, you're not. So that way you can't really fake it and say,
Yeah.
oh, I'll buy 3 cases of
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
like
no
okay,
backing out.
Yeah, we have your
That's
money
cool.
now.
That is
we brew. We're gonna brew it, whether you like it or not. That's another thing, but
You bought it.
Yeah, so when we started, we did a lot of shipping. We shipped beer like straight to consumers in 36 states, but then laws and
that's a giant
clusterfuck
pain.
of-
That's
yeah,
a giant pain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
weren't
gotta be
really
harsh.
operating in a legal area, but
Yeah, well, you've got, yeah, I got
Now,
you.
I do have a quick question. You said that ingredients have to get approved, or
Yeah, so that early on, TTB just changed in I think 2017 that they used to only have 9 ingredients that you could put in a beer without getting the formula approved.
Really?
So coffee, raspberries, you had to get a formula approved, and that would take 60 days.
We've done a lot of these shows, and I don't remember any of our other breweries talking about that
No.
technical nature. Because
Well, that was back in the day, and a lot of people just don't really care.
and is that
But-
is that Wisconsin?
No, that's federal. But if you're not selling across state lines, then it doesn't matter.
right.
I mean,
That's,
that's what-
we
yeah.
did talk about
Does
that
matter,
last night.
But the Fed's not going to come after you unless you're
Right.
engaging in interstate commerce.
Right,
then
and that's what we
where
were
the
talking about
trigger is.
last night. I
Yeah.
think was as things go, as your distributorship goes outside of your state, you're now
becomes-
subject
Everything
to the
changes.
federal
Yeah.
laws. Whereas if you're staying in state, you're just
Yeah.
subject to the state, and the state usually doesn't care.
It's
As long
just
as
like
you pay their
marijuana
excise
in other
taxes.
states,
well,
you know.
I think it's probably
Yeah.
tax purposes. Like the state,
No.
no or no. Doesn't I didn't know if it had anything to do with
it
that.
really
'cause-
has nothing to do
No.
with tax. I mean,
If they were-
the state defers to federal guidelines. So in Wisconsin, you don't have to get your labels approved, but they have to adhere to federal guidelines.
Right.
So there's no approval process.
Right.
But then, like in Illinois, they have to approve all my labels. In Minnesota, they have to approve all my
Yeah.
labels.
So as your distributorship life gets more difficult.
Right.
When
Bigger-
you're just,
like
a
anything.
when you're just like a local brew, like Manahan and Monticello, you can literally just make pantry beers, and you're not shipping it anywhere. You're not distributing out past your own, your own tap room or anything. You're kind of you have a more freedom
Free
there.
to roam, yeah.
That does get a little bit. That's got to get stressful and restrictive a little bit sometimes, or that had to be a lot to learn.
Yeah, it's mostly like that's the way it is. It sucks.
Yeah.
And, every time I get on my high horse of wanting to change the laws, I just get super jacked and like contact legislators and stuff. And then it just all gets shut down because the big boys don't like it. And then you're just like, oh, yeah, crap. I don't have $2 million to change laws.
You don't have you don't have the $2 million an hour lawyer.
No.
Let's go brew beer.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just trying to brew beer. Jeez, people. I mean, come on.
Competition.
Well, yeah, no, it's the space looks great. I mean, I'm liking the space, very big. What is your capacity right now?
Fermentation capacity, we're at about 4,000 barrels that we can do. The brew house could crank out more if we had more fermenters back there, but we've kind of been adding another 60 barrel fermenter every 6 months or so since we opened up here. Just kind of slow growth, but still going.
That's still good.
No,
That still keeps you moving, and you're still running. What? How many was it? 10, 15, something on tap?
20,
taps? 20?
26.
Okay.
26.
Well, and a deer head. Don't
Math.
forget about
Yeah,
that.
what's up with the deer head?
Yeah, somebody
saw
got
that
served
yesterday.
out of a deer head.
You did.
Yeah,
Look at that shirt.
I got served out of a deer head.
So our birthday is called Weird Fest,
Right.
and I basically wanted to throw MobCraft Circus for our birthday. So we had like Mondalucha Mexican wrestlers out front. We had fire throwers and sword swallowers and live statues, and then I had this idea of like, let's serve beer out of a deer. So my buddy's dad is a taxidermist, and he gave me a form. So I hollowed out the form, put a mechanical solenoid in there.
Yeah.
It's hooked up to a keg and a switch. So you flip the switch, electronic opens up the solenoid, beer comes out. It doesn't work worth shit, but it's kind of fun.
Which beers? How do you say which beer comes out of there? Is this rotating?
Right now it's the Blackberry Whale.
Yep, that's
We
what I
usually
know.
just put like some big, thick, viscous thing on there because
So it sort of looks bloody.
You want to go too fast and yeah.
well, no, it's less carbonated, so it doesn't foam up as much, but it's kind of a bear. So normal taps have like 8 psi on the back end. That just because of how it works, it has to be at 30 psi of a different gas.
Oh goodness.
So it just,
wow.
Not practical.
I feel like that's one though for like the office party where you just skip the glass and you just stand in front of the deer.
Yeah, like just open your mouth.
The deer's got its mask on. There have been a couple bachorette parties that got under the deer, but then we had to make a rule about it.
Because then they got on the deer.
So we have our first sample too.
Oh, are we drinking now?
I think we need to have it. Yeah, I mean,
done with my
it's a
first
beer
sample.
show. So, do you want to tell us about the first one here?
Yeah, this beer's so fun. So what I love about our brewery is that our beers are really a representation of each of our brewers. So Andrew is a science nerd. He wanted to figure out how he could use a historic yeast in a beer. And this started like back in 2014. He was trying to isolate yeast out of old wooden Pabst barrels, and that didn't work. And then one of our other staff is a Breweriana collector, and he brought in some 1880s salesman sample bottles of Schlitz and Pabst, and we tried to isolate yeast out of those. Didn't work. And then Andrew got access to an 1880s brewery in Milwaukee that it burnt down in 1888, and the cellars are still intact underground. And he went down and swabbed the whole entire basement, grabbed like 16 samples off the walls, and was able to isolate a lager yeast out of this cave.
Are you
like, out
sure
of
it
this
was a
old beer
lager
cellar.
yeast from back then, or was it
Yep.
just yeast?
No,
Mold? No.
It was a lager yeast. So basically took those swabs, grew them on UBA, which is an auger that selects for yeast and inhibits the growth of molds and bacterias. Didn't get much on many of the plates except for this one that started to colonize, and it looked like yeast. So we propped it up, grew it from those couple cells to enough to brew a small batch. Tasted like crap. So we're like, oh, this is probably, sluggish fermentation, tasted bad. We're fermenting it at an ale temperature, so it's probably not an ale yeast. Jacked up the size of it a little bit more so we could have temperature controls on the ferment, and it was happy at lager fermentation temperatures.
Oh, sweet.
Therefore being a lager yeast. And so it's a novel strand of yeast. Can't buy it anywhere, and it makes tasty, fun lagers.
I say it's a great beer.
I was waiting for the next step to be, so we went down in this mine and we found this amber with a mosquito in it that had the, I thought you were going Jurassic Park there for a minute on how far
Almost,
back
though.
you were going. You were getting there.
Once we
Next
get to
step
the
was-
apocalypse, I'll tell you about that.
You did get down into the ground at that point.
Yeah.
You were going underground, so
I'm curious how he got in there after it burnt down. Like how did he just go on his
Shovels.
own? No, I
No,
mean, but
no.
most of those times they're like off limits.
Yep. So the brewery was called the Falk Brewery. Once the brewery went under, the Falk Brewery became the Falk Gear Corporation, and then that got bought out by Rexnord, and it's still a business that exists in the Menominee Valley. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
there's a business on this site. It's a whole
right.
campus basically. But then that was one of the companies that made the first like iron gears
Yeah.
in the state of Milwaukee, city of Milwaukee. So that's why it's called the Gear Beer. Andrew's last name is Gierzak. That company historically made gears.
Nice.
But yeah,
worked
so
out.
it was a connection through that. One of our staff's wives works for that company and knew that we wanted to do this project. And
I know they didn't
Hooked us
really
up.
name beers back then, but that would be a perfect what the fuck.
yeah, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
You know,
Yeah,
there'd be
yeah.
a beer called What the Fuck.
Yeah.
and this is a good fucking beer. You know, I can the marketing writes itself on when your brewery is called Fuck.
Yep.
You know, it's like yeah.
They probably weren't using those back
No,
then.
yeah.
They probably weren't using
Yeah, it was just
advertising
beer. Yeah,
system,
there wasn't
but
a
yeah.
lot of. It was just here's a beer.
It was an export beer. They were one of the first ones to export beer out of
the
Milwaukee.
US? Really?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
So this beer was aged. They would lager it for 6 months before they would export it. Thank you.
That's clean. I mean, it's a very clean.
Yeah, it's
It's
delicious.
it's very
great
delicious.
lager.
Very
really like
clean.
it,
I
yes.
really like that one. That one's an easy.
So
It's an easy.
It's a boat beer.
Boat
Yep.
beer. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And the unique
Lawnmower
thing
or
about that
lawnmower
one,
beer. You know.
like you said, you use the unique yeast strain. Nobody's ever going to come close to doing a duplicate on that one.
Well, we took it over to a friend's brewery and made a collab with the same yeast, so they could have kept it, I guess. But
That'd be kind of rude.
yeah.
We homebrew too, and you can go in and you can buy the clone beer packages and all that stuff.
Yep.
But
We usually
That
just
is-
leave it open though and let the yeast in Jordan's garage just kind of naturally
that's happened.
sour
too,
our
but
beers.
That was when we learned not to use plastic conical fermenters.
Oh yeah.
We learned that lesson the hard way.
they seem well that's
They worked well for batch
to be-
one.
to be
Batch
fa-
two, not so much.
to be fair, the places we're pushing them like they should be great. You
Yeah.
know? It's like
Yeah.
they're
Not so much.
they didn't
Better
really
than a
work.
plastic 5-gallon bucket.
That's
Well,
true.
no, I think the 5-gallon bucket might have been
Well,
easier.
yeah, be easier to clean.
They were like
Yeah.
the porous.
It wasn't
Oh,
super. It wasn't
yeah.
really
Plastic.
super smooth. The buckets
Yeah.
are usually at least that really
Yeah.
smooth plastic. It doesn't seem to have as many pits and stuff. You know,
I
all
went
that
back to
pitting
just
in it.
regular old glass carboys.
Yeah.
Can't
What
go
got
wrong with
you-
glass.
What got
I
you
mean,
into home brewing to start with? What?
I've always been a maker, and I've always loved food and ingredients. I spent a lot of my childhood overseas and just like experienced flavors. So that's was my first love, was being able to take flavors and make food, and then that just went right into beer. You know, I think I brewed 2 kits, and then it was like, let's forage in the garden for what we have out here that we could throw in a beer, and like that stout became a mint chocolate stout, and you know, it just kind of kept going on from there.
The broccoli rhubarb stout. Yeah.
Well, rhubarb IPA, we got that.
Yes, we know
but
those. Yeah.
No broccoli beers. My wife would like a broccoli beer maybe, but I don't think anybody else.
I don't think so at all. That'd be a bit,
I'm a fan of broccoli, but not in a beer.
I would like a broccoli cauliflower beer, please.
No.
That's going to taste awful.
You know, we are in Wisconsin where they make Bloody Marys and they just put everything in them.
Well,
you can
that's
get a
true.
whole salad on a Bloody Mary up here, and
You
some
can-
bacon.
You
and
can
some
get
chicken.
a 50-ounce Bloody Mary with a fried chicken on the
On
top.
top. Oh, yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen those
Seriously?
ones. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
over at Sobelman's,
Fried
like 2
chicken.
blocks, 2 miles away.
Yeah, I've seen several of them like that. Fried chicken and then like a piece of cake.
I don't get that.
Piece of
Pizza.
cake.
Yeah,
Oh, no, it's
You get anything
huge.
in
It's
them now,
huge.
yeah.
You should look them up. There's all kinds of
Oh,
places
I don't.
that do those
I can't
huge
do
ones.
Bloody Marys. I don't like tomato sauce. Anything tomato.
Oh, let's drink that Chef Boy. Are you drunk then?
Oh, that's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah,
great.
that's
You're gonna
cool,
love
yeah.
that one.
Oh, really? Is that what it tastes like?
Kind of, yeah. It's got tomatoes and mushrooms and oregano and basil.
That's awesome. So we're drinking.
He doesn't like tomato sauce, but he eats pizzas.
Oh, I love pizza. No, I don't have a problem with tomato sauce. I don't like tomato juice.
You said tomato sauce,
No, okay.
didn't he?
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
That
was 2 minutes
I may
ago.
have said that, but what I'm saying is I don't like tomato juice. Tomato sauce is fine.
I hate tomato juice, but I love a good Bloody Mary, man.
Yeah,
I've tried
I do
Bloody
too.
Mary.
I just
I've
my
tried
acid doesn't
I
like
can't
it.
do it. There actually shouldn't. There's no reason to put any kind of alcohol in my vegetables in my alcohol, really at all.
Well,
ever.
tomatoes are technically a fruit
Shut the
anyway.
shut the fuck up.
They're fruit. Hey, I didn't make the rules.
Shut the hell up.
All right, let's move on to the beer that really got me turned on to MobCraft when I came to Milwaukee.
Did it make you?
It did. Batshit crazy.
There we go.
Yeah, so this one's one of the first crowdsourced beers ever, actually. This came up back in the college days. There were 2 gals I went to school with named Abby and Allie Murphy, and they submitted this coffee brown ale. They didn't really like beer, but they liked coffee, and they wanted a beer that was more approachable. You know, most coffee beers are big, huge stouts, so they wanted something a little lighter, and that was a little sweeter. So we did a coffee brown ale with lactose. Originally, it was with like this Italian espresso that we kind of like hand pulled at the homebrew scale.
Sure.
But then, yeah, people really were digging this beer, so we brought it back and then just kind of stuck.
Yeah, a huge coffee drinker too. I love it. You get great coffee out of this. It's delicious.
Yeah, we've gone through, I think, 3 different 3 or 4 different roasters and probably 15 different coffees on the trials of the flavor. But we really dialed it in, and just love the addition method. That's what makes a good coffee beer.
You get the coffee right on the nose immediately. You can smell coffee.
Is it where do you get the coffee? Who's your coffee partner
It's
now?
Valentine Coffee, and they're in Wauwatosa here in Wisconsin.
So it is Wisconsin source at least. All right,
Yep.
cool.
And then so they actually do the batshit crazy blend, which is a blend of a couple different roasts.
Really?
Your light roast is going to give you a lot of your aromas, and your darker roasts are going to give you flavor. And then having a very low acid coffee helps the beer not.
Do they
taste
sell that
sour.
mix too? Like, do they keep it on tap like a batshit
I don't
coffee?
know. I actually got a
mix,
I've been meaning
to
to ask them.
I was
Can I buy
That
this
would make
at
sense.
the store?
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, I just want to make some
Or can we
batshit
sell
coffee.
it in the
yeah.
tap room?
That's what I was going to ask. So can we go up there and can I take a bag of batshit coffee home and drink that for breakfast? And
Yeah, but it just make me feel like I'm drinking batshit crazy
Yep.
beer. At least close enough.
Yep.
Or I
Uh,
could just drink a beer in the morning, but
Yeah.
that would be wrong, right?
No, not at all.
You work from home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
you do realize we started the show at 10:30, right? So just saying.
But it's okay. It's not 8 o'clock though. And that's just wrong.
Not in my eyes, but I don't know about you.
I know.
Bob.
I'm asking the wrong actual crowd. Yes. Is it too early to start drinking?
Never.
We did start with whiskey this morning.
we
actually.
did. We did.
Yeah, that's true. I did walk the kitchen. You guys were taking.
We're like, it's really early. I need to pregame. Yeah.
I'm having a cup of coffee. You're drinking with whatever. It's all good.
Now this is one of my favorite
No, the
coffee
notes are
beers.
good.
It's,
Yeah,
it's an amazing beer.
And it's a again, like you said, it's a porter. Most coffee ones are. Or I'm sorry, it's
not a porter.
Brown ale.
Brown
Sorry,
ale.
brown ale. But most of them are the stout. When you get the
Yep.
coffee, it's a coffee stout. It's very you've got to appreciate the stout style, but put it in a lighter blend, but still having the same notes, the same aroma. Really, it lets you drink more of it too, as well, and I think appreciate it for those who really aren't into the heavier style.
Yep. And it's 5.6, so nice and easy going. And we had a lot of success with it at Miller Park in the summertime. It's like drinking a cold brew.
Yeah.
Like an iced latte. So it's a
Yeah.
really refreshing summer beer, actually, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love it on
Serve it.
nitro. Oh.
And that would
Oh,
be,
I
that
bet
would be
that's-
yeah, that would
yeah.
be good. But this even being around it, I mean, you could serve it super cold without destroying it. If you put it in a stout and you try to serve it super cold, you destroy it because stouts shouldn't be super cold.
I'll
Anyways.
admit I'm not a coffee drinker, but this is actually really good. I mean, I'm not a coffee fan. Never have been. Couldn't acquire taste, but this doesn't really taste overly. The ones I've had before, the coffee is just too much for me.
Yeah.
This is good.
I mean, zero bitterness in how
Yeah,
we
this
add the
goes
coffee
down.
into the beer.
You can tell this is made with real coffee. The ones you're talking about are usually like a coffee extract,
Is that
and then
what
it
it is?
gets
Is that
like
what-
a
Yeah, it's-
strong chemical,
bad.
like
Yeah, it's
espresso-ish
too-
taste to it.
Or anytime people chuck in coffee hot side, you're extracting all the tannins and bitterness
Oh,
out of the
yeah.
beans. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you lose a lot. It's all about the engineering. It's all about the mixing,
Yep.
the flavors and
Yep, the
everything.
trial and error of it.
You've got
And-
that history on the flavors. Were you an engineer too, or
No, I studied entrepreneurship in Spanish.
No, well, that works.
So if you're Spanish, what's up with the down the road? There's like a little look like an outdoor.
Oh, Zocalo?
What is that? What
It's
is that?
a food truck park.
Food truck
Oh,
parking
is that what that
area.
is? Okay.
There you
We
go.
walked down there yesterday, and I was just trying to figure out what that was.
Yeah, they got a little bar
Okay.
on the inside,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's anywhere from like 3 to 7 food trucks that pull up and do lunch and dinner. More
Okay.
on the weekends.
I'd say just a weekend thing.
Yeah, and it was
No,
a
it's
cool little
all the
place,
time.
but-
So the guys who started that had a taco truck that was really successful. So that Mazorca taco truck is always there, like 7 days a week,
Oh, we
lunch
didn't
and
see
dinner.
anything over there. It looked a little overgrown. Are we talking about the same little?
I think so. Yeah, the little it had a
It's
bar
like
in the
little
back.
Park?
Yeah,
Oh,
a
it
little
looked
park.
like a little park area.
That's
I thought
sand
it
over
looked
there.
overgrown or something. Maybe
It
I
did
was
look a little.
All
That's
the
what was-
corn stalks?
No, it had. I mean, there was like.
like 3 blocks down from
Yep.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. On the
All
right hand side. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't anything
Well,
there
there's a lot of
yesterday.
sand.
No,
Yeah.
yesterday it looked pretty desolate, but
Yeah. All right.
Everything did, yes.
Well, everything was
But everything-
desolate at 3 o'clock. It's a little ghosty around here sometimes.
Oh, I mean, September after Labor Day, just Milwaukee dies. You know,
Yeah, that's
like
what we are.
normally we're a big touristy town. People are around
Yep.
experiencing stuff, and then everybody goes back to school and work, and we're in the middle of a pandemic too.
That too. But yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And this weather hasn't helped, probably.
No.
No, not at all.
no. I was gonna say, anytime I've come here, I've been here several times. This place is packed, like every time I've been. But I'm usually here during the middle of summer, and not usually during a pandemic. So those are definitely contributing factors to everything going on. But again, though, last night when you opened the door, there were people waiting to get in here.
Yeah.
I mean, we were,
It was us.
and there were some others too. But yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of that, and I know sort of off the subject, we noticed you guys have like some giant ass pretzels.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Those
these.
things are
What
massive.
food
Oh
do you
yeah.
have?
Milwaukee Pretzel Company is they make these awesome Bavarian pretzels, and we just sling them all day long.
So so you get them sourced in, and then you guys just bake them and sell them.
Yep.
Serve them. Wow.
I just never seen a pretzel that big.
It was
Oh
huge.
yeah, that's a very Wisconsin thing. Like
massive.
Well, yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
some big
16
ones,
ounce
but that
pretzel.
thing was that
Yeah,
thing
it's
was
like
huge.
Indiana tenderloins. That's,
Exactly.
Yeah,
way
that's
oversized.
I mean, I've
and
seen
far
some ones
too
like
much
this,
going on.
but that thing was.
Yeah, I mean we have the small ones that are the size of your face, but these
Yeah.
ones are like 2 faces worth.
Yeah, we saw someone get one yesterday. And I'm like, wow.
They're tasty.
All right, pass it around. Where are we at next?
This is the Mexican one, isn't it?
This is called Chica Mala, and this is an annual collaboration we do with a group called Girls Pint Out. Are you
Oh, yeah,
familiar with
we
that
know that.
organization?
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
every year we
Absolutely.
crowdsource a beer with GPO, and we take ideas from all their chapters. Each chapter kind of has their own mini vote of all of their members, and then they submit one from their chapter, and then we let the whole U.S. vote on the one from the whole, everybody's beer that we would make. So this one was Sarah Hand. She's actually from Milwaukee. This is the first time a Milwaukee chapter has won.
Nice.
So it's a Mexican-style lager with sea salt, lime, habanero, and mango.
I smelled the pepper. That's what I was smelling.
What?
I could smell something on the nose, and I thone it was a pepper.
Yeah, and it's really when we go for spicy beers that we're gonna make a lot of, we tone the spice down quite a bit. So it's just habanero that's there for a little bit of the flavor, a little bit of the kick, but it's such a polarizing thing.
I love pepper beers. It's like my favorite thing to drink and make and all that kind of stuff. So
There's 2 pepper beers in our Weird Fest ones that we'll try a little later.
I grow all the hot peppers at home, all the big boys. So
Sweet.
just to
Like your
play
Scotch
and have
bonnets
fun.
and scorpions and
Scorpion. I have Scorpion, Reaper, Apocalypse.
Yeah, we brewed a Reaper one already.
Yeah.
Would you brew a Reaper Strong Ale?
Yeah, Reaper Strong Ale with Citra hops.
I love the Reaper. I love the Reaper flavor.
I do
In
too.
the
You just
light-
have to
in
be
the light
careful with
beers.
it, but it's
Yeah,
if you do it right, it's delicious.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have tried that yet, but the Reaper beer gives a whole different meaning to pepper beers.
Yeah, I haven't nothing on the commercial side. I smoked a bunch of Scotch bonnet peppers a couple years ago and did a smoked porter with the
Oh,
or not a
yeah.
smoked porter, but a porter with the smoked Scotch bonnet peppers, and that was super tasty.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love the smoky beers too because we're big on like the Rauch beers. I love those. Any kind of Rauch beer, I'm all over.
Oh, I wish I had
And
Clan
any kind of-
McDougal for you.
You what?
I wish I had Clan McDougal for you. The Lafroig barrel aged Scotch ale, so good. If you like peaty scotches.
Well, there's a brewery down in Indiana, Primeval. They actually keep a Rauch beer on tap all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy
sell
German
it.
beers, and they sell out. Yeah, they're it's just it is a lot. I mean, it is pepper. There is smoke. It is salty. It's
delicious.
just, oh my gosh, I can drink several pints of it. These guys can't, but I can. You said you couldn't. You said you don't like drinking more than one.
The Primevals?
Yeah,
I'd
a
drink
Rauch
the
beer.
shit out of that.
I just meant too many Rauch beers.
No, I'd drink that all day long.
Well, maybe it wasn't you. Who
was it?
Oh, it was Cowboy. that would have been Cowboy.
I was going to say I think you're throwing because I like them too.
Yeah, but usually you guys say I can't drink more than one.
No.
Yeah, they're lying. I don't care what you
My
say.
God.
They're all lying.
Nope. Drink smoked beers all day long. I love
Yeah,
it.
I does say I like smoked beers too, and pepper beers. Pepper beers is my big thing.
I usually don't like the green.
I don't like the green peppers. I think
but
we
this is
started
really
talking about
unique.
it. The jalapenos. I shy away from jalapenos all the time.
Yeah, and that's going back to coffee beers. That's a pretty common thing is you get green pepper flavor out of poorly made coffee beers, and that's just the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why I don't like jalapeno beers and other intentional pepper beers because it reminds me of like, oops, we fucked up that batch of crazy or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the Reaper I didn't even roast. I just threw it in natural green, as you would say, and it that one because of the way the pepper is, it worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always does.
It just pulls the nice natural flavor out, gives a little of lingering heat, and
Now I have had. Who did we had one where it was they at least roasted the jalapeno first. And then obviously that gives a different characteristic. But the straight like raw jalapeno
did
ones,
that.
literally the beer just tastes like the color green.
Yeah. There's a brewery called Sweet Mullets that's in Oconomowoc that they make a beer called Jorge, and that's a jalapeno beer, the only one that I just like, wow, this is fantastic.
I wonder how they prep the jalapenos
I don't
then
know.
or something.
I've
to
never
keep
asked.
that green
And the
out
brewery
of it.
changed hands, and I don't know who's over there anymore. But
Bummer.
yeah.
Sweet
Anytime you
bullets.
roast the pepper, it definitely is going to change the characteristic.
Which it should.
Yeah.
All right.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a little bit of heat at the end of that.
I actually picked it first because I thought it was one of the ones I wanted to get out of the way. But this is really, I really like this. I just saw Mexican style. I didn't notice there was mango and habanero in there. This is really tasty. This is a great beer.
I mean,
It is
with
a
the
very
sea
good beer.
salt, it makes me think it's going to be like a
Little
goza.
goza, yeah.
Yeah, I was
This
I
is
was waiting
delicious.
for. I was like, is it? And I'm looking. Oh no, that's a lager. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, throwing the sea salt in with the lime and it's.
You get the flavor. You get all the flavor in it.
Yeah,
You definitely taste everything that he was talking about in there.
I feel like if you've had a bite of a taco and drinking some tequila, and it's kind of right. It's kind of all right there in the glass.
Yeah.
I had a ton of the mango beers, and I don't get mango out of it, and you definitely get it out of that, and it's really nice.
Well, and that's why the shit's expensive. There's more money in mangoes than malt in that beer. So,
Really?
when we do stuff, we don't put like mango flavor in it. This beer was like fresh frozen mango, so we get the mango in, we puree it, bring it up to 160 degrees to pasteurize it, and then just literally pump it into a fermenter and let it sit
You're
for a
not
bit.
buying the pre-pureed stuff. You're taking the time to craft it as you can.
Because most of the time when you can, the aseptic purees are like 4 times as expensive. So
Really?
might as well. I mean, and then I don't want to trust somebody else's sanitary processes to tell me that it's aseptic.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably go back and file an insurance claim or something, but that's a pain in the ass too.
But now I've already now my beer's horrible, and then I got to do now I'm filing suits and that's
Don't have that
big
personal
waste of your
lawyer.
time.
Yep. Yeah. The only time we ever use an extract is in our vanilla porter, and it's just because that if you use vanilla beans, they're so expensive.
They're ridiculous.
And we got to hit a price point on that one. It's like that can't be over $10 a 6-pack, otherwise people don't buy it.
Vanilla beans are fun to play with home brewing, but on this scale, I can't imagine what that would cost to use vanilla
Josh was
beans.
holding vanilla beans, $3,000 worth of vanilla beans in his 2 hands, not in a bag, but just like cupped in his 2 hands.
Wow.
Nuts.
They're ridiculously expensive.
Why? Why is that? I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar with.
Well, it's the stem, or not the stem, the steel, whatever. It's like the part of a flower that after the flower dies grows into the seed pod of an orchid that grows in Madagascar.
Oh, so it's the
the
rarity
stuff
of
All
them then?
hand inoculated, all hand picked, and then you got all the pirates that steal them and rob ships and then jack up the prices. The black market for vanilla beans is a real thing.
Wow.
The stuff we know as vanilla extract. That's not. I mean,
True vanilla?
There's no true vanilla.
Yeah.
Even like all the stuff that's vanilla flavored, it's unless you get a real one and use it and actually hold it in your hands and use it, you'd know the difference in a heartbeat.
Huh.
But they're expensive. It's like cinnamon. Same thing with cinnamon.
Yeah.
What we know as cinnamon
Cassia bark.
is just bark.
Yep.
Well, cinnamon is bark too,
Sorry,
but
it's
the cassia tree is whatever.
Yeah. It's to get real cinnamon.
There's a lot of nerds at this brewery.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't
get
know.
real- to get
buckets
real-
of useless
yeah.
information at MobCraft.
I'm not up on all that stuff. But that's interesting.
To
It's
get real
fascinating. I
cinnamon
just
is
don't-
super expensive too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's there's.
Well, and I mean, you think back in the day, they traded in spices and stuff. Long ago, that was a thing that
it was
traded
money.
in. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
So
money.
it makes sense.
So some of that is still money.
Like Pirate Dan, was it Pirate Dan from
Yeah,
Milwaukee
Roaring
or,
Dan.
or Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Or
Dan, the Wisconsin. I don't.
One that
Piracy on
Lake Michigan?
Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know you could be a pirate without being in the ocean.
obviously you can. Well, he said they over sensationalized it in the newspapers.
Of course.
Yeah, because who wants
Wow,
to
that's
buy
kind of
just
like
some-
Common Day.
Like who wants to buy a newspaper that says some guy commandeered a ship and you say pirate, then everyone's like, ooh, pirate. Yeah, I
Well,
gotta
he was
read about
arrested
this.
for piracy. That
Yeah,
was on
I
the
mean,
charge.
that's-
The
Yeah.
law, if the laws fit right,
Yeah.
they'll be like, well, we got him. We gotta call him a pirate right now. But all right. it
Speaking of
works.
rum, we got a rum barrel aged imperial stout over there, I think there's vanilla beans in it too.
I think he was calling for that one. Which one of
Are we
the?
switching? Are we going that? Are we
No,
jump? Are we
you
jumping?
pick. You pick
from,
whatever you want.
No,
I'm just.
we just had a
taking
mango
buzzwords.
habanero lager. Are we
I know.
jumping all the way up to?
Freshen up. Let's take a quick 5.
Yeah,
And let's take a quick 5. We'll pick some more beers, and then we'll get back into MobCraft.
Oh,
There we go. Sounds good.
deal.
If you're a craft beer guy who can't get it nearby, do yourself a favor and log into Tavour.
Blind Pig Confessions is the greatest podcast there ever was. My name is Dave Smiley from WZPL, and if you don't listen to this show, you're dumb.
Oh boy.
But you're back.
I think we got the oh boy in there. I think I hit record fast enough.
We're gonna have some. Oh boy,
We're gonna have some.
Boyardee here.
We're gonna have some fun here. These are some. So this reminds me of when we went next door yesterday, and we got to a point with Ross, and Ross said, "We're gonna do some weird stuff now." I feel like we're at that point in this show
I
here.
think everything got weirder.
Then he
didn't it?
kept saying, "No, it's gonna get really weird."
Yeah.
and
I
then
kept
nobody
waiting.
has their pants on.
I kept waiting.
And it's so much fun. The whole craft beer industry is awesome because if you're in the mood for a traditional beer, you can get yourself a traditional beer, a really good traditional. But if you're in the mood, I just want to try something crazy, you can almost always find something that's not a normal beer, you would say, and that just makes everything so much more fun in this industry. So I love that stuff.
Where are we going first?
doing
This
the-
one's the. Oh,
Go ahead.
This
Yeah,
one's
it's your
the
beer.
this one's the lemon meringue pie, and this is a crowdsourced beer as well. So this beer, it won a while ago, but we brewed it more recently just because of COVID. We kind of stopped brewing some crowd beers because when they're expensive to make and there's nobody buying kegs, it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, a little bit, just a tad.
So
It smells wonderful.
yeah. So this is brewed with graham crackers, lemon, lactose. I think there's like 500 pounds of lactose in here. Just kind of a ridiculous milkshake IPA.
I haven't tasted it yet. It
So
smells
yeah.
That is
absolutely
good.
wonderful.
Was this for the $3,000 in vanilla beans?
No. Smaller amount of vanilla beans. I mean, the bigger and heavier and darker the beer is, the more you need to get the flavor to come through. So like a barrel-aged stout is going to need more vanilla beans than this. But yeah, that was awesome. We actually chucked graham crackers in the mash. I think there's like 250 pounds of graham crackers, 400 or 500 pounds of milk sugar.
That graham cracker really comes through. I mean,
Isn't that
it's a lot. It's a lot heavier and complex than you would think when you see.
Hell
You know,
that's a biscuit. Yeah, that's some.
that's delicious. But
That's some
you
graham.
You think this is gonna be a little light,
A
It's
light
awesome.
dainty beer.
Yeah.
It ain't.
There's nothing light, and you
yeah.
get just that hint of lemon in the end there, and it's very
awesome.
creamy. That's a good beer. It's very solid.
What I love of how Adam and Josh and Andrew and Tim do citrus is they'll do zest and juice. You don't get any pith, which is the bitter part, but you still get enough zest that brings in this nice bitterness across. So it is an IPA. It's a milkshake IPA, so not supposed to be too bitter, but that lemon zest bitter really comes through. And
Which you need. Yeah,
like it.
yeah. I think we were doing that. Were we putting in zest on when we were trying to do any of our citrus stuff?
We
I
did
don't,
not.
I don't think we did with that, but we
No,
Okay.
we didn't.
We were doing I think we were doing.
That was in that was when we
saison.
first started, though, and we were
We
just
didn't
kind
know.
of
It was just put orange
going off
juice
the
in
cuff,
it.
so to speak. Just throw the shit in and see what happens.
Yeah,
souring beers.
yeah.
that's
We had a great sour program right off the bat.
yeah,
That
you're
beer
the
was-
ones who ruin sour beers for our country.
We tried for a stout and ended up as a sour black IPA, and it wasn't good. Yeah,
To
it
be
was-
fair, our first stout was great, and
It
then
was.
we brewed another stout, and we had a brewer friend of ours taste it. He's like, "This is a great black IPA."
Oh yeah.
but it was
Oh.
good.
There's got to be some of these, especially with the crowdsourcing that wins, and you do a beer, you're like, oh my god.
I was going to ask that. I was
I mean,
talking to Jordan about that outside.
There's some that come in that are interesting beers. I would say we haven't brewed any of them that have been like horrible in a long time. The one that I'm referencing, it sounded like it was going to be really bad, but it actually turned out all right. It was a durian and cashew pilsner.
Holy no!
Yeah.
How did you actually really?
Yeah, so durian, world's stinkiest fruit, smells like rotting flesh.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
wow.
and apparently it tastes like awful, like soggy onions or something too, is what I was told. Is
It
what
also smells like rotting bag of onions.
It
But
will-
if
it-
you
it can
strip out
run
all
out.
of the nasty,
Yeah.
it's like this mango custard.
Really?
Like the consistency of it is custard almost, and then you get this really strong tropical fruit mango. But obviously that's with rotting onions and
yeah,
all
because
sorts
you get
of
that
vile
like
things.
that Andrew Zimmern guy who goes out and eats anything,
Yeah.
and that was like one of the things he could never eat. I'm like, you just ate a deer penis, but that's too much. And I've heard like people will eat it like they'll be in. And they'll like have it in a hotel, and the hotel it basically has to be fumigated and ozoned, and to get that smell. No, it is supposed to be awful.
Yeah, in
How did you
Singapore they
get
have
it?
no durian on the trains. Like
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, no smoking.
We
How
had
did you
to
get it
we had to
dirty?
drive to Chicago to an Asian market and just
they
buy
had
it
it?
from there. Yeah.
Really?
And it was just fortuitous that it was durian season that we could actually get it, because we tried to brew a similar beer last summer, and I was just scouring for durian. The only thing I could find was frozen durian at an Asian market. So we did a really small batch of it because we couldn't find bulk durian. But I mean, even the frozen durian's $40 for a freaking durian. It's expensive. But so what Andrew did, because he's a microbiologist and he understands how all this chemistry shit works.
Yeah.
He goes, well, durian stinks because it's got sulfur compounds in it. So sulfur has a really low boiling point. If we bring this durian puree up to like 140 degrees, all that durian stink is going to volatilize off in the air, and we'll be left with that tropical mango fruit
durian,
flavor
yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
And sure
And our
enough, the whole
brewery
brewery
won't-
smelled like an
I was
egg
gonna
bomb
say,
went off.
that-
That's what I was going to say. How,
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you do it here? Did you find a
No,
rent a
this
building
was
for
this
the
was
day?
at our place when we were brewing at House of Brews in Madison. So I mean, they cleared out of the brewery when we were making the beer for that day. But I mean, it was a really cool beer at the end of the day. But as far as other weird crowdsourced beers, stuff comes through, but it never really wins. It's the crowd that's voting on stuff. So it's usually, I mean, like we get a ton of milkshake IPAs in these last couple weeks, or last couple months over summer.
Yeah.
But they're always good. And when we go through and formulate a recipe, people don't give us a recipe, so we're not trying to, we're not
You're just taking
using
the
their
idea.
recipe.
Okay, right.
It might be make a milkshake IPA with, like one of the most recent ones was called Tiki Bay Milkshake IPA, and it's based off the Painkiller cocktail. So it's like take a milkshake IPA, take orange, pineapple, vanilla, nutmeg, and make something out of that. So we'll go through. We've made milkshake IPAs before. We know how to make them. We know we're going to get a bonus sweetness here or bitterness from, like in this instance, from the lime zest. So we backed off, the hops even more.
Sure.
And then you kind of just go back to the drawing board of that initial base recipe and make some tweaks.
So you have a small experimental batch. Obviously, you do it in a small batch first, and then
Yeah, it's about 900 gallons.
That's your experiment.
That's the only size we have.
No, I didn't. I thought maybe you still had your homebrew kit. And you try to do it, a small batch first. Have you had any that have won and made it where you're supposed to do it, but you brewed it and then eventually said, yeah, that's not gonna work. I can't make this work.
You don't have to worry about it. It's already bought.
No,
It's paid for. I mean, screw it.
I guess, granted, but is there any that just didn't work out? They won, but didn't work out, and you had to say no.
Not that didn't work out because the beer was flawed. The process, like one time we had this a beer that had bananas, and we scorched the bananas and then pumped that into the beer, and it just tasted like a burnt banana. So that's the only batch that we've had to dump down the drain. That was like a crappy crowdsourced batch. Everything else, we do all the flavor additions after the base beer is already done. Okay. So, I mean, there are exceptions. There are some beers where you need to mash in stuff, but that's probably only 15% of the beers or so that we actually will throw, that's Kayla's our director of operations. She's super rad. So we'll throw like graham crackers, that one into the mash. But for the most part, it'll be ferment the beer, make sure the beer is great, and then we'll go through and do the additions.
Do the flavors. Okay.
Yeah. When the fruit is like as much as all the beer ingredients, definitely want to make sure that everything is going good first.
Do you homebrew at all anymore on the side, just little things at home, or you just nope, y'all done?
Sad.
No, I was just curious.
Not all.
I know some brewers who will
not
still
all done.
keep a home system.
I have morphed to different things, right? So I'll ferment stuff. I do a lot of gardening. I make a lot of hot sauce and salsa, and so like that, the making aspect is still there. But as far as like ripping off a batch of beer, it's like, well, I have a giant cooler of short fills that I can tap into whenever I want.
Well, and I like the fermenting stuff and making hot sauce. Yeah, there's a 1205 Distillery down in Indiana. They did a collab with a guy there who took some of their beer and ended up making a mashed hot sauce. It came out pretty well actually. So
nice.
Yeah. Just curious because you've got to keep that creative streak alive too, and something
definitely.
that's personal and not just the business side of things.
Yep.
So. I was curious what your hobbies are after, because once you stop home brewing, what hobby do you pick up next?
Yeah.
So
Well, I have a 3-month-old child. That takes
that
a little bit of
works.
time.
Yes.
What was your first big wow? I mean, what was your holy shit, this is amazing beer?
Well, the first craft beer I ever had was Old Chub from Oscar Blues.
Wow.
And that was when I was 14. My mom let me have one because she called it Happy Beer. She's like, you can have one Happy Beer. And then I had like a ginger something or other from Left Hand. I grew up in Denver, so it was Colorado breweries. But I had a ginger. I don't know what the beer was from Left Hand, and that was super tasty as well.
Oh yeah.
And then that was high school, and then that went back into like Natty Ice for the next 4 or 5 years, and then.
You got to drink what you can afford.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then we started homebrewing in college, and then we had 9 beers on tap in our basement, and from then on out, it was never like made it back into craft beer after young kid garbage beer. Just started making stuff after that.
Nice.
It's like you're in the dorm and you opened up a tap house in your own dorm. Is that what you do? The RA never knew about it, but everybody keeps going down to the basement. All right,
So we're getting into the weirdness now.
Where are we at on the weird?
This beer is called Chef Bar. Are you drunk?
Okay.
So Weird Fest is our birthday party every year. We made 4 really small batches, around 15 cases each, of just off the wall weird friggin' beers.
When is your birthday? When?
We don't really know. It's in the summer.
Okay. So it's the summer Weird Fest. Is that what we get?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's so many birthdays, like when the company was formed, when the company started, when we
Gotcha.
brewed our first batch, when we moved to Milwaukee and opened this place. They all happened in the summer. So between June and August.
It works.
Yep. So this is a Martzen with tomato, mushrooms, basil, and oregano.
I feel like this is going to be like the 1056 pizza beer.
It's not.
It's not? Okay.
No.
1056 brewed up pizza beer. Mm-hmm. And granted, it was one-off small, but you drank it. It tastes like frig pizza.
Yep.
Yeah. The tomato is much. It's not as
No,
heavy as it was in
not
that
heavy, okay.
pizza beer, but
I actually like
there.
it. It's not. It's. I don't even know what to say. It's just so
It
different.
tastes
I don't know what to say.
like what it is. The flavors are all there.
Yep. There's tomato in there. Yep. It's marzen. Yep. That's there.
It's kind of, I don't want to say Bloody Mary-ish, but at the same time, it kind of is.
Actually, it reminds me more of like a michelada.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I don't like having, but I have tried them because I'm not big on tomato juice and alcohol together because, this it seems wrong. But
but it's a good beer. Like it's.
But it is a good beer. There's
I don't know.
flavors there. Flavors are solid. It's Chef Boy, are you drunk?
Now this one I definitely wouldn't do a couple pints of.
No, this is a taster.
But
so when
it's
we
there.
made these,
the flavors are there. It's
when we
wild.
made these 4-packs, we like moved all of our parties to Zooms. So we'll do like these virtual pairings and whatnot. So we had a 4-pack of these weird ass beers, and then a pairing with each one. And this one had a Bloody Mary popcorn that went with it. So we
nice.
get a couple hundred people on a Zoom and putz around with fun pairings and drink some weird stuff. This weekend we're doing beer and ice cream sandwiches.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like it. So is that?
Oh, yeah.
Is it basil oregano or what?
Yep.
See, I get
Both?
basil.
That's where I'm getting in the nose. I'm like,
Yep.
the nose is great. It's completely and totally awkward.
Yeah.
But
It
the
is.
flavor profile works.
And that's
It's
pretty
nothing-
much what you're going for when you're like, this is just really weird in my mouth. It's
Right.
it's solid. I don't know if I quite like it. It's got all the things that it says it
Jordan
does.
says that every
Huh,
night.
That was a fun experience.
It does. It confuses your senses. You don't know what to do when you drink it. You're just like, I don't know what to say. Like,
But
I don't hate it.
About beer too is there's so much a wide. We haven't even met. I mean, there's so much more you can do with a beer yet.
Oh,
and people keep making these crazy things. It's wild to get one. And like, man, it is what it is. It tastes. You get those flavors out of there. It's like, man, that's awesome. It's
but
just
nothing was
crazy.
too overpowering in it.
No.
Like, I mean, when you're doing stuff with like tomato juice and,
when you
and
do
stuff like
something
that.
with oregano alone, you'd be
I was
like,
gonna
oh,
say,
yeah, gee.
and different spices and stuff. It's really easy to overpower very quickly on any of those things. So, just the way that you taste everything, but it's not overpowering. It's there. There it is.
Well, when you have that many different ingredients too, you got to be careful. Otherwise, they just all muddle together.
Yep.
Or one overpowers all the others, and you're done. You got to keep it light-handed on those. If you're just making like a one-ingredient one, you can throw. You want to throw a ton of something at it because.
But you don't want to go too light-handed either, because then you're just like, well, it's a beer, and I think maybe I tasted a hit of tomato, but I'm not really sure if you don't want it to be that kind of thing
Yep.
either.
You're like, oh, where's the this in it? Is that even there?
Yeah.
there.
Are you sure you use that in there?
I'm just laughing already about what's gonna happen when you guys open the next beer.
No.
Oh,
Oh, no.
gosh. What one is
That's
that?
what I was
Is
looking
that
at
the
yesterday,
kimchi
son.
funk?
Oh yeah, kimchi funk.
This is the weirdest beer you're ever going to try in your
Really?
life, I think.
So what is this one?
So okay, if you guys want to try the low funk with it,
Yeah.
so low funk is our sour ale. It's a oh my god, I can smell the garlic off that beer from here.
Ooh, garlic.
No, so low funk.
Holy cow.
The beer I'm going to talk about first is gold medal GABF this past year, American Sour Ale category. It's like a Solera blended 4% sour ale. So we took that as the base beer and added all of the things you'd find in kimchi to make the kimchi funk.
Yes.
So you got garlic, you got hot peppers.
Don't drink that one yet.
We're not drinking it yet.
You said you wanted to go the low funk first.
Oh,
and
no, it
then
doesn't
that?
matter.
Oh, okay. I thought you had an order you wanted. Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's the same base beer, but this one has the additions of all of the,
Oh,
the
okay.
fun, funky stuff.
I'd actually kind of like to do the base
do the
then
base
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the low funk, it goes through a really cool process. We traditionally just made a lot of barrel aged sours that took 1, 2, 3 years to come to fruition, and we needed to make a sour that was a little bit quicker. But Adam said he'd quit if we were going to brew a kettle sour, so I said okay. So he came up with this Solera blend method of that the low funk goes through, where it goes through a primary ferment with the saison yeast, and then ages on a house lactoculture, and we basically, I got some.
That's fine.
We drain this batch down, and then we top it up, drain it down, top it up, so it's kind of this ever-living low funk.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's got really nice notes
the
of.
low funk's the slightly cloudier one, guys.
Was that the first or second one?
Second one I handed you is the low
That's
funk.
one we're
This
doing.
is
It's the one that
base.
doesn't smell
It's-
like
yeah, the one
garlic.
that-
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you can't
Okay,
mix
so-
these
All right,
up.
there we go.
All right, so the second one we're trying first.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
the one that doesn't smell like garlic.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like a gateway into sours. Like I love this beer for that. It's 4% ABV. It's super light. You get a little bit of mango, a little bit of pineapple flavor out of it, and we're able to produce this. It's actually the cheapest beer we make.
Really?
which is very fun. So we can crank it out at a $8.99 6-pack on the shelves, and people who are just getting into sours can grab this. And this is one we actually sell through Brew Pipeline all across the U.S. You can find it in I think 13 different states.
Oh, nice.
What's Brew Pipeline?
They're like an intermediary distributor that buys beer from breweries and sells it to distributors, but it's all kind of like pre-order one-off batch stuff.
Okay.
So like we sit on their like order sheet for Low Funk all the time, but we've done Batshit Crazy through them and a couple other beers here and there.
I can see where you said this is like an intro for sours because it's not a punchy in the face sour. It's you drink it and you almost get like an ale feel, but then it like turns to the sour at the end of it.
Lemon, with a little bit
I like
of
the
lemon.
pineapple. I get it out of there.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Well,
we
I
figured-
like sours.
Yeah,
I'm a sour
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I love sour. More sour the better.
Yeah.
Well, this is like a 6 on the sour scale.
Oh, yeah,
We've
this
got some
is-
9s over there. No 11s though. We only, you still want to have it be a beer.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now let's try the kimchi.
Okay. So
funk.
now we've got the base. Now the giant smack your face with the garlic. Oh dear God. I haven't even drank it yet.
Isn't that so much fun? I mean, I love
I
this.
think it's awesome.
I mean, it smells like potent garlic, but,
But
you don't get any garlic
no,
on the
you
flavor.
don't
Well,
get
yeah,
it.
like I got that jar of the already minced up garlic in the fridge, that's just sitting there in the garlic oil that I just take a spoonful and throw it in your food. And when you open that up, it's like bam.
That's what you think
Yep.
you're going to get too, and it's not.
But
that's
you get
wild.
a rush of
You
flavor.
get-
You do get a rush of flavor though.
I know this one actually.
That's crazy.
I actually had like 3 of these in a row the other day, and I have no clue why. I mean, I love garlic. It just
But
You
it's
can't
got
have too much
that,
garlic.
but
My
it's got
skin.
that speed. It's also got the peppers on the back end instead of right up front, and it's got this is kind of what the creeper beer feels like.
Oh,
We
yeah.
use Carolina Reapers. The heat is on the back end. Although in that one, the more you drink, everything just
stays
starts
on
to
your
warm
lips.
up. It
Yeah.
stays on your everything just gets warm, but nothing ever really hurts.
Yep.
No.
That's the nice thing about cayenne, that in most pepper beers that we do that just need heat, that's it's not like a distinct flavor and it's not lingering. It's there and it's just this nice pop of heat, and then it kind of falls back. And
I think that's crazy. That's
Wow,
great.
that
It's
is
delicious.
the most that is some awkward shit.
It is, but it's
Again,
it's pretty
it
damn
screws up
good.
your palate though because it
I
doesn't
smell garlic, and I'm like, yeah.
I smell garlic, but I taste like the pepper and the salt, and it's very.
I still get the garlic after. I
You get the garlic aftertaste. Yeah, I get
it's
that.
definitely in the burp.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, garlic must be oily, that it sticks to the CO2 bubbles and pops out.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, hey,
So
it's Weird
good.
Fest beers, man. We're just making
Dude,
some
that
weird
is so
shit.
freaking good.
No, and that's the thing is you made these on purpose to be like that. You know,
yeah.
it's not
Is
like
this a
someone goes,
regular?
No, we made 15 cases of this ever.
Oh shit,
So-
that sucks. Are there any cases left?
Yes.
Really?
Like
for
one.
sale? Like for sale?
There are some in the tap room, yeah.
Yeah, we're taking them.
Yeah, we're gone. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna buy those.
Yep.
Because some people need to try. Other people need to try.
Yeah,
this.
because sometimes you get some unique beers like this that are just like, holy crap. You
Yeah,
know?
that
and
one's-
it's fun to like you're doing. You're watching our faces. Now we can take it home, put people on the show, and be like, try this. You never had anything
Or
like
is
this one before.
Or is this on tap?
Um,
I thought I saw it on tap
it might have been.
yesterday.
I thought I saw it up there. That's why
Yeah.
you guys were looking at it yesterday.
Was
Was
it you do
wanting to try it.
growlers? Or do you guys do growlers?
Yes,
or no?
we do growlers. We got 4 packs of this
Oh.
and growlers of it.
Yeah, the 4-packs might be
So.
good too.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we're definitely shopping.
Well, the 4-packs will last a lot longer.
That's a beer I
Yes.
would buy all the time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
that's-
think
that
it's-
is a
it's wild, but
spectacular-
It's,
it
And
is
for
a
those who
wild-
do like
delicious.
tomato and alcohol together, Bloody Chaser, it's the best.
Oh yeah.
The what?
Oh,
do
you
you
guys
what?
don't have chasers for
What's a
your
Bloody
bloodies?
Chaser?
Oh my gosh, you're not from Wisconsin.
We are not from Wisconsin.
When you go to a bar at 9 in the morning in Wisconsin and you order a Bloody Mary for breakfast, you get a chaser, which is sometimes this size, but
Oh,
most
a
often
tapper,
it's like
just a- yeah.
a pint of beer along with your Bloody, and it just comes free
oh,
with it.
okay.
So it's a chaser.
Okay, well that works. I'll just take the chaser though. Can I just have the chaser? And
Yeah,
we can skip I'll give my Bloody Mary to Jordan. He can drink it, and then
I've had Bloody Mary served with a pickleback before, but
Yeah.
not with a beer.
no, with a pickleback, not a beer.
Come on. Well, apparently he's not from Wisconsin either. Apparently, when you're in Wisconsin, you get a Bloody Mary and a beer.
Then of course I've also had my whiskey served with a pickleback, so I don't know.
Well,
There
yeah,
you go.
That's horrible. That's only when you're drunk that you do those. Oh, I can't get over this now. Although we're gonna have to switch to our low funk glasses because these glasses are now
those ones are
spoiled.
wrecked. Yeah.
These are wrecked.
All right, take another quick 5. And,
yeah, let's take a quick 5, and we'll
swap
come back.
out the garlic glasses and.
Yeah, well, we'll switch to the low funk glasses, clean them out, and we'll see what else we got on the menu.
Cheers.
Cool. Sounds
Cheers.
good.
This is Jessica from Digital Wolf, and you're listening to Blind Pig's Confessions.
Wow.
Well, we're running through this show quick, and a lot of beers. That was a spectacular kimchi beer, man.
That beer was so good we had to take a break after it. That's how good that beer was. So
Had to go have a cigarette. It was that good. I don't even smoke.
All right, so we're gonna move through just a couple more, one or two more here, and then let you go do more of what you do, which is
Sad.
awesome.
The real world returns.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch on to the MobCraft Sour Golden Ale Noir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've got we're about 5 years into our sour and wild program. The Sour Golden is a blend of 1, 2, and 3 year sour golden ales. So this is the first year that it's been foeder aged sour golden with 3-year-old barrels and 2-year-old barrels, and we blend that together in this nice little cuvee, I guess. Yeah. So we release that every March. We got a gold at FOBAB this past year for it, the Festival of Wood and Barrel Aged Beers, and then we do 4 different random fruited varieties throughout the year. So this is the final 2020 release. We did strawberry pink guava, dry hop, one other one, and then this sour golden noir.
That's
The
awesome.
nose is freaking
Oh,
spectacular.
this is absolutely
Are you,
delicious.
so
It's
is your
delicious.
wild area? I mean, are you segregated out? Do you
So
have a
directly
split?
behind us is the wild and sour room.
and then, so,
so it
from your
is-
other.
Yep. Yeah,
Good.
but we can on the same canning line. We have different fill heads. Like every part that touches beer, we have a dedicated sour and a dedicated clean side.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Because I know that's always the danger.
Yeah, it's
in
never-
having a sour program.
It's
with
not
a regular
actually a
beer.
danger. It's a danger just if you don't have cleanly brewing practices.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So like everything
we
that
see
we
a lot of
do
those.
to clean is gonna be able to clean whatever
Whatever's in there.
wild yeast or
Yeah.
bacteria out of it.
I do have a question. Curiosity.
Oh
Okay.
my God, that is great. Sorry.
awesome.
Obviously, they give you the ideas for the beers, right? Now, do they name them or do you guys name them?
The name's half the fun. So, and I would say out of our crowdsourced beers, if we make if we made 300 beers in 7 years, whatever. If we make 40 beers a year, 12 of them are crowdsourced beers, and then the other ones are ones that we come up with. So it's a fun part of the company that we love doing, but we still crank out a bunch on our own. Like Sour Golden Ale, this is just Adam's. Whatever he wants to do in the Sour and Wild program is whatever he does, and that's that.
I guess when they crowdsource the beer, is that named by the crowdsource
that's what he was
person?
asking.
Yeah. So they
Or do
they get
you-
to name it.
So you don't name the crowdsource
Yep.
beer.
The only times
okay.
we name them is when the government turns down the name and we have to come up with new ones,
Yeah.
or we get a cease and desist from people. So like Nigel's Coconut Delight was called something else,
Yeah.
but then Seagram sent us a cease and desist, so we had to change that one.
Oh, great.
And then those guys won another beer, and they had it called Painkiller IPA, and then the government said you can't say that alcohol kills pain. So I had to
Yeah,
change
but it
that name
does.
too.
It does. They used to use it as a painkiller back in the day. I mean,
They used to use heroin as a painkiller.
Yeah,
too.
well,
I
yeah,
don't know,
but-
I don't know.
This is spectacular. This
It's
is
delicious.
what's the grapes on this one? Is it?
So it's Frontenac grapes, and Andrew goes and actually harvests these grapes from the UW Madison Vineyard. So this is they have an experimental vineyard that they just grow grapes for, research, and then so we can pick them up on pretty cheap.
So these,
but
these are genetically modified.
I don't know. They're research grapes. Yeah.
so, what, you're hoping to become a superhero from drinking
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Yeah, but Frontenac grape, the one that's in here, is like a Midwest grape. It was, it's invented in, I think, University of Minnesota invented the grape or hybridized the
Oh,
grape
really?
or something to make it a hardy, can grow in
Yes.
Wisconsin grape.
It's awesome. That's wow.
That is very good.
spectacular. There's another one
Tasty.
I need. I think I'm on this one and buying the kimchi.
I think there's a reason they made sure that I was driving my pickup truck up here so that we could just have plenty of room to get all the beer and booze back.
Yeah, we can palletize it. It's fine. Just wrap it right
Make sure
up.
you got room for that book, though.
Yes, yes.
Oh wow, that is spectacular.
That's wonderful.
Your sour program is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are doing. And again, we had another guy. He's still part of the Pigs, but he's moved to Alabama. He also came up here and he fell in love with MobCraft, and he was bringing stuff down, and I'd bring stuff down. So we've really been drinking MobCraft on the show for several years now. We're not right here in the city, so we miss out on a lot of the short releases and stuff like that. But we've had a ton of MobCraft on the show over the years, and I don't think I've had one yet that I was like, oh god. So that's awesome though. But the ones
there
you're
was an
giving
oh
us are
god,
fantastic.
and then it was like oh.
The only one was the jalapeno beer, which I actually liked, and he liked. Pat wasn't crazy about just because he doesn't like that green jalapeno. But
Here, I can get it.
We do have mailboxes.
Yeah.
You can always mail us beer.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You can always mail us beer.
Spectacular. Oh, no, we weren't. Oh, we're
Yeah, it's got to breathe, right?
we're going to let this one breathe because we need to finish up with the, because we want to switch over to the Ice Storm.
Ice Storm, yeah.
Because you were talking about that when you came in. So I poured a little bit of that here. Pass that around.
Can I drink some?
Yes, but you pour it first. So give us, this one's in conjunction with Great Lakes. Is that correct?
This is actually a crowdsourced beer. It
Oh,
was
okay.
submitted, and the base beer we didn't want to be overly boozy. So the base beer is an ice bock. Normally, if you're making it in Germany, you're freezing the beer. We can't do that legally in the U.S., but it was a barrel-aged ice bock. If you go barrel-age a lighter beer like this, you're going to have like a lot of tannins that come into it. Mm-hmm. So we did half of it aged in bourbon, half of it not. But this barrel really stood out because we go through and sample every barrel, and if one tastes awesome, we don't blend it back in with everything else.
Okay, keep
so
it
instead of
aside.
having a mix of barrel-aged and non-barrel-aged, this is the single barrel, and it was a Great Lakes Distillery rye barrel.
Sweet.
So it like tasted phenomenal and outstanding. So it's like twice the spirit character than the normal ice bock, and then just their,
That's
their
awesome.
spirit barrel.
Because a lot of times they'll still take that and they'll taste them all, and that's great, but they don't necessarily isolate out one to keep by itself.
Yeah.
They just still then go blend it all together.
We do it
and-
all the time. It's so fun.
Yeah,
Oh.
just take one barrel out, and you're like, oh, this is great. We can blend all the others together. That's fine, but
Yep. Like our Padishah's our annual release, our stout, and we have 12 variants coming out this year. We got port barrels and cognac barrels
Oh,
and
nice.
a couple different
Yeah.
Great Lakes barrels, and
I think you're pushing the ABV on this one though, because I can taste it. Right? Is this one high?
it's
a little
It's not,
it's a little.
not in your 10s yet. I think
think
it's
it's that
8.
bad.
It's still in your 9. Is it in?
Oh,
it's got to
9.
be around
9.
9.
9.
Okay.
Yep.
We've
Because-
said that as homebrewers. We actually told Ross that. We said, that's one thing we'd love is to have a barrel. Just
Yeah.
so we could, because that's harder to get as a home brewer, like to have a barrel that you can just have fun with.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what was in it, just to, do something different with. So,
Well, there are tons of distilleries that do 15-gallon barrels. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on your homebrew size, you got to brew 3 times to fill that up if you're
Yeah.
doing 5-gallon batches. But
yeah, we can do 16 on ours, but
sweet.
I need to find someone that has a freaking barrel we can have that we can, or buy, and then we can try that, because that would be so much fun to
Go
homebrew
talk
with.
to Ross.
There's Old Sugar Distillery in Madison, and then Driftless Glen in Baraboo. Probably one of my favorite bourbons I've tried this year is
What's it
Driftless
called?
Glen. Driftless
Driftless
Glen.
Glen.
And they have, I think they're 20-gallon barrels. But,
Which is okay. You can still.
yep.
Where's
They're
that
hard
out
for
of?
us to work with in Baraboo.
Baraboo?
It's kind of near
Never heard
Madison.
of it.
Yeah, it's the
I guess we're going
home
near-
of the
I guess we're
circus.
going to- guess we're
The
going to
original home of the
Madison.
circus.
Yep.
We're going to
Ringling
Madison
Brothers.
today.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, so what do you guys think of this?
I'm liking
Awesome.
it.
I
It's
like
a
it.
great
Yeah.
ice box. It's
I've-
like I said, it's a little sweet because you're
it-
pushing that ABV high, and you just get that natural. It just naturally starts to lean towards that,
It's sweet, but it's not boozy. You definitely
No,
don't
no,
get
it's
the,
not boozy at all.
Yeah, you don't get that.
and it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
super syrupy. It's not. Once you start pushing the 11s and 12s, starts to get a little chewy.
Yep.
And while they're fun to have, it's got to be a small one, and I'm not going to have a lot of it.
Yeah, it's still light enough. You don't get the booziness. It's sweet, but it's still light enough to really enjoy it.
yeah,
in a good
and
glass.
you
And
get
the
a little
rye's
bit
so
of that
fun.
rye.
Oh.
Oh my god,
It's awesome.
I love. Yeah, we're big rye guys. So that's pretty much what I was drinking this morning for breakfast
and dinner.
Love it.
and dinner.
That's awesome.
It
That's
kind of
really-
just happens
really
all day
nice.
long. Yeah, that's spectacular. So, I mean, we have one more, but you're pushing.
Dude,
Yeah, we
let's
gotta
do
go.
it down
All
to the
right.
wire, man.
All right, we go quick.
It's just a phone call.
Oh,
Yeah, we just don't want to get you in trouble, man.
yeah, I was
I mean,
worried about
we
the-
already screwed up the time.
yeah, I
Come
was,
on,
worried
we're
about,
like,
I was worried about the last phone call you said you missed last
You're more
week.
worried
that-
about
Oh,
than
yeah,
he
yeah.
is.
Here, pass that around and go. So this one is he's not. D can't have any of that because he's allergic to this
Oh,
one.
it's just the coconut
Yes,
one. Yeah,
you're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
pass
have
that
that
one.
one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry. Yeah,
Well, sucks to be you.
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, hives are sometimes worth it.
Nah.
I've got an EpiPen in my bag.
coconut's not gonna go well.
I have an EpiPen at the house. I always have to keep one
I will be
myself.
honest before I even taste it. I'm not allergic to coconut, but it is one. And there's not a lot of stuff in the world that I don't like. Coconut is one of them.
I think I might have
So-
poured mine in the wrong glass or something because I now
No,
have something.
No, you're good.
Oh.
But I'll tell you why. So whenever we do coconut beers, we use coconut,
Okay.
which unfortunately brings a little bit of oil, and your first pour always has a little bit of that coagulated oil in it. If
So
you
I got
wanna-
all the coconut oil.
If you want to switch it out for a
No,
different one,
I'm
you
gonna
can,
rub it. I'm
but-
gonna rub it.
I'd
It
say you
depends.
just
If it's
rub it
really
on
good, I'm gonna
yourself.
rub it on myself.
Yeah, you're gonna be rubbing it on yourself.
We're gonna have a copper
Stow
tone
that
ad.
in your
We're
beers.
gonna have a copper tone ad up here in a minute.
But I will say that I'm one of those guys that even though I tell you I literally hate coconut, I will still try it because I'm looking for that one person that brews a coconut something, and I go, oh shit, I actually like that one. I haven't found it yet though.
That is very different.
So
It's,
this is
I
rum,
get
a rum
very-
barrel aged coconut stout
Okay.
with molasses vanilla.
Molasses
Holy
is
shit.
really heavy. It makes it
oh, that's so good though.
it's real toasty.
It's real toasty, warm, and
molasses
there's
is
no
huge.
the sweetness isn't there either. It's got a nice molasses. Jordan, did we get it? Did he get it? Pretty close.
I'm almost speechless because I got a hint of coconut, but then it suddenly
It actually says toasted on there.
it turned so quickly to that nice smoky flavor that my palate was able to ignore the coconut part and enjoy the smokiness, if that makes sense. So yeah, no, I like it.
Well,
Wow.
and knowing this beer too, or when we got the rum barrels in, we got like 15 gallons of rum out of the barrels, so I can taste that from
Yeah,
this
I think
tastes
the
like
rum
that
really
rum.
smooths it out a little bit there,
And the molasses is so
the
nice, and
because molasses, I like molasses because it's not just sugar. It's not syrup you're putting into
Yep.
it. It's got its flavors,
love.
its characteristics. Yes,
No, that's actually really good.
but it keeps it from getting too sweet and just balances out with little. To me, molasses is always a little earthy, woodsy. I don't know just how it reacts on my palate. It was a funny, molasses story, but my little nephew, we took him out to a place in Florida that has pancakes, a big pancake house, and they're famous for their molasses syrup and all that. But he didn't really know, and so he just poured he pours syrup. He poured molasses on his pancakes, and he just took a bite. And he's like,
it's different too, yeah.
"It's different. It's not syrup, little buddy."
Yeah.
but it's still perfect.
No, this
That
is amazing.
Yeah, it's a fun beer. Rum barrels are just they're so good.
Yeah,
Well,
the
we've
bourbon
got
barrels are great, but they're to add a different kind of flavor to it. But when you add when you throw in a rum barrel, or even a wine barrel, it's a wholly different profile.
Yep.
But I don't know a lot to do rum barrels. Everybody's a big on the.
Well, it's
bourbon
because they're about
barrels.
3 times as expensive.
Are they really?
And they're much harder to find. Like a bourbon barrel, you use it once. It's American white oak, single use, and then it's no longer bourbon. Distilleries buy those barrels and then age rum in them 3, 4, 5 times. So when you get those barrels, they're 30 years old. They look like they've got the plague.
Yeah, and
how do you even hold liquid? But
but they do,
But
and
they
they
do
make
sometimes.
spectacular.
yeah.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, they
That's
keep
spectacular.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah, like rum, when we got Lafroig barrels, those were originally Maker's Mark barrels from 93, and then they held scotch for whatever amount of time till we got them in 2016. So barrels make a cross-continental journey
Yeah.
before they end up getting beer-aged in them.
Well, Henry, this has been spectacular.
Oh, do we have to end?
Oh, well, we can take a break while you do your phone call, and we can come back and finish.
drink more beer.
Well, you guys can drink beer. I got another meeting after that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but-
all right. Well, it's already been
Incredible.
a spectacular trip
Yeah.
around the flavor profiles. I mean, literally, all flavor profiles have things
it's
we've never
definitely been
actually
all
had
across the
profiles
board.
before. This is across the board with, it's wow.
And this says a lot. So when I was up here, because I usually plan when we go out of town, that's kind of part of my job, I guess, on the show is I usually plan these trips to get the whatever. And I said, we're getting into MobCraft. I was like, I don't care what other brewery we're there. We're getting into MobCraft. If this guy doesn't answer me, I'm going to find out a way to get a hold of him. And we are doing a show at MobCraft.
Set up outside.
So yeah, I was very, very determined. They were like, okay, Jordan, I'm just get a hold of him, man.
We're
Just
going to sit
worry
outside
about
on
it.
one of the picnic tables and say, what, are you going to kick us out?
Well, I'm glad you guys got a hold of me and we made it happen. And
Yeah,
I will say one thing. My shameless plug. Anybody who's listening, go submit a beer because it's
Yes.
super easy.
How do you-
right
how
at,
do- well,
right
how
at
do you submit the beer? There we
mobcraftbeer.com.
go.
Up on the top, there's a submit tab. Basically, all you need is an idea. It doesn't have to be a recipe. And then we also allow proxies to pick up beer too. And someday we'll start shipping beer again.
Yeah.
So we could really come up with some kind of beer that we want with our Reaper Pepper type thing in there, and we could submit that.
Yeah.
We need to
you
get a
should do
blind
it.
pig beer in there.
Do a blind pig beer.
Sounds like we got to do a submission.
Challenge accepted. Yeah.
There we
Yes,
go.
that's me, since I'm the only one who knows how to use computers around here. So.
That's not my job.
Oh,
The other day you told me just to shut up and talk to people.
Yes,
that's what
pretty
you
much.
literally said to me.
I do. I literally.
I don't know how I could do both at the same time, but that's what you told me. Shut up and talk to people.
Multitask.
Yeah. So, you want to
Yeah,
close it?
and
Anything?
it's just
Anything else you
amazing.
want to say about tap hours and times or anything?
No, I mean,
on
we're
the
open
brewery?
7 days a week.
Yeah.
Got pizzas, got food. Come check it out.
It's worth the destination.
Everything's
Gotta
kind
get
of
down
like
to
virtual and
MobCraft,
weird
yeah.
right now in the pandemic, but it'll get back to normal soon. So
If they're open, there's beer here, and you got to get down.
It's worth.
here.
It's worth a road trip. It's
Yeah.
worth a road trip around. It's only a few hours. From Indiana and anything. It's worth a road trip.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely very very unique and come up, pick up 6 packs of something or 4 packs of something or some
This is a
growlers.
place where you want to come and you want to do the flights here.
Yeah.
Because you have so much unique beer, you want to be
Yeah.
like, how many can I get in a flight? Can I get 12
We
on my
actually
flight?
have a 25 flight paddle.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you
I
can do
did
them all.
not. I did not see that on the
You have
menu.
to be a group of 3.
I
think we took it away because of COVID.
I am a group of 3.
No, we had one guy do it all by himself, and then we made that rule.
That makes sense.
Oh, it wasn't me.
was
So
not.
you had the wrong guy
I
do
mean,
it.
25 times 5 ounces times mostly barrel-aged beers and high
Oh,
ABV stuff.
damn.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds like my Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like what we did right here.
All right. Again, Henry, thank you
thank
so
you,
much
guys.
for having us. We
It's been a
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Yep. If we could go longer, we know you got a lot to get going on, though. So thanks again, man. All right.
Certainly. Thank
Cheers.
you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Met you in a haze of days, a deja vu, blazing down the avenue, trying to make a buck or two. You said you had nothing to lose, amazed and knew you were telling truth, so we blamed the days and drove out for something new. Live on a holiday state. What we grew in the fields is what we ate. Wasn't enough to satiate the hunger in our souls. So I drank the blended cactus and you set up on the road. Where are we going? No one really knows. But in the past you never failed to follow me. Roosters crowing, it's time for you to go. I can hear a freight train whistle and left you with the jug of wine in the Louisville strip. It was Easter time with the banjo clipped to the back upon his spine. Tin of tobacco, a bag of rice, a nomad's grip on a state of mind. You smiled back, knowing this was not goodbye. Now the rails looking for love. Had a close shave at the building, here's Billy Clyde. You followed through with being insane and dove into the country's veins. Risked it all for a better look. Lost it back to write the book. Where are we going? And no one really knows. But in the past you never failed to follow me. Roosters crowing, it's time for you to go. But if you find the truth, you bring it back to me.
Roasted, fell to hell, drowned inside a wishing well. Caught a bus back home with a tale too tall to tell.
Glassy eyes and a darkened mind. He sat completely paralyzed, like a ghost who'd lost his grip upon the grail.